What is your "I don't get paid enough for this shit" moment? Plumber, owner of a mobile home, called and said they had a stinky yard. I could smell it when I pulled up. The mobile home was new and had only been set up for about 8 months. While setting it up, someone didn't tighten a no-hub band of the toilet in the kids' bathroom. 8 months of flush toilet was all over the ground under the home and had just started being noticed outside. I told the homeowner to call the guys that set it up to come fix it. I wasn't crawling under there. I worked at Circuit City when I was 17. Heard a noise of packaging being opened in the movie section. Found a guy crouched down cutting open DVD boxes and stealing the discs. He looked at me, held his knife out and said, "Got a problem?" Quote. I just replied, "I don't get paid enough for this shit," and backed off. I went to the back room of the warehouse area to call a manager to tell them what happened. Never could get a hold of anyone, so I just chilled in the warehouse area for a half hour to decompress. I used to work in a mall music store. Back when that was a thing. There was a corporate policy to play new music regularly. Yeah, no. Because that's the fucking thing you're trying to sell. My boss, every single day she worked, would play the entire Madonna album, Ray of Light, hours of the same 8 fucking songs, for most of a year, until it was either go mad, commit murder, or bail. I bailed. That music franchise went under a little over a year later. I hold Madonna and my old boss responsible. I worked at a heating and air conditioning company doing bookkeeping. I was being trained by the company's accountant. If I made a mistake, the owner would literally scream at me full voice. I overheard him talking to his brother, and his brother had told him not to scream at me. The owner said, "You have to tear them down to build them up." I decided I wasn't going to take another day of his screaming after that. I was volunteering at a state park. One of the paid park rangers would drive people around to various locations to work, then come check on you throughout the day. Bitch tried to drop me off at the bathrooms and told me to clean them. I was like, "Nope, that's not happening. I'm here to work outside." She told me, "You're gonna do whatever I tell you to do or I won't sign off on your hours." Then I had to explain that not everyone who volunteered to work was there because they'd been sentenced to community service. Working at a large chain retail store. Come across a spot of shit in the toy aisle. Oh, look, a mess for me to clean. And what's that over yonder? Another one not far away. Nice little trail of brown nuggets left behind and leading me on the worst scavenger hunt ever. All the way across the store to the bathrooms, what do I find waiting for me inside? The mothership turd, sitting proudly in a small heap on the floor in the corner, merely a few feet away from an actual, factual, functioning toilet. Turns out a kid was in the toy aisle with their parent and couldn't hold it in any longer, followed by a mad dash to the bathroom. My supervisor literally said they felt bad for me, and I didn't get paid enough by corporate. Raise. No. $5 gift card. Yeah. Same place. Also came in for a routine bathroom check. Go into the stall and find shit on the wall. The strange part, it's at shoulder height and streaking down the wall like shit mascara from the stall crying after whatever it was had been done. I have no clue what happened. And to asterisk this very day, asterisk I still like to imagine someone doing a handstand inside this tiny stall and blasting a butt nugget against the wall. I ran the entire company's financials and general management for $14 per hour. I had a meeting with the owner telling him I need a raise and to hire an assistant. He told me I wasn't business-minded and should be a stay-at-home mom. I quit the next day. When I was 20, I had 3 jobs. I worked as a bank teller from 8 to 4, then as a closing shift manager at a coffee shop from 5 to 10, then as an overnight janitor from 11 to 2 a.m. This wasn't every day, but it was enough that it equated to about 80 hours a week between the 3 jobs. And yes, you can imagine this would lead to burnout real fast. So at the overnight janitor gig, my boss comes over to me and asks me to come to the office for a review. This was weird. All I did was mop floors on a production line that made air train brakes. But whatever. I go into his office and he closes the door behind me and pulls out a gay porn magazine and starts asking me about different dicks and put his hand on my shoulder. I was surprisingly calm and just said I don't like dicks and went back to work. Then it hit me what happened. I called in sick the rest of the week and picked up my final paycheck when he wasn't there. It was a hard enough job without being sexually harassed for $8.50 an hour. I was working in a grocery store one time, and as I was checking people out, one lady came up to me and the very first thing out of her mouth was, "You're a failure and an embarrassment to humanity. If you were my kid, I'd beat your ass right here, right now." I had done literally nothing but ask how she was. Like what? Then her card declined, LMAO. I worked at Walmart for less than a month in 2009. I scanned a big box fan for a guy and it didn't ring up. So I said, "I gotta do a price check on this. I apologize." The guy said, "It's $24.99, you fucking idiot." I stared at him for a moment, then reached up and turned my little register light off, turned around, walked out to my car, and went home. Fuck that shit. Bartender here. Grown man threw a lit cigarette at my face and threatened me with physical violence. This was a year or so ago, but a 45, maybe older, year-old man behaving that way towards a 24-year-old female was definitely one of those moments. Plus the people getting handsy and occasional cleaning of vomit. I do not get paid enough. Used to work at a gadget shop. Loads of silly squeaky things. Things that flew about. Novelty gadgets, etc. You get the picture. We always had to wear something from the novelty clothing range. One day I wore an apron that depicted a buff guy. I'm female, and my male co-worker wore the female version. During that day I had so much abuse. I asked my manager if I could change into something else and she said that it was a talking point. I had people calling me all sorts, from fat to idiot, to questioning my true gender and sexuality. I had some teenage boys push me into some of the shelves and then made me fall into the central box tub things we had that held Lucky Dip products. Still my manager wouldn't let me change. I quit. If she had said that I could change after the first few incidents, then I would have been okay. But seeing the abuse was reducing me to tears and still not doing anything about it, it wasn't worth the paycheck. Bagging groceries at a major supermarket. The manager came over to tell me that I needed to clean up the bathroom. An elderly gentleman fell off the toilet while pooping and it was a literal shit show. Apparently I was the most qualified because I was 16. I was handed a broom and a dustpan. I shit you not. Sorry Hatter. My reward for going above and beyond the call of duty. $5 in store coupons. Sometimes dreams really do come true. Manager at a grocery store I worked in my teens refused to pay the waste management bill for several months. When they finally came and emptied the dumpster, there were still mounds of trash laying about around the area. He had me go out and clean all of it up alone. I didn't have any protective gear or supplies whatsoever, and was out in 100+ degree weather. I was only given a bunch of trash bags to put it into. And when I went in to ask for help, I was just given a shovel. I worked one more day after that. And after just being given more work to do without so much as a good job or thanks, I never went back. Barista. Grabby customer grabs drink on the counter. Tastes it. Says, "This isn't mine. I ordered a vanilla latte. This is also iced." I proceed to tell her it's clearly not her drink she picked up then. Am currently making Grabby's drink. Then have to double back to make the previous drink for the customer it was originally intended for. Again. 8 hours a day. 5 days a week. Customer service should definitely be paid more. I used to work at Old Country Buffet. And there were kids who would eat until they threw up like all the time. This one case that is seared into my mind was when I was once fixing up the salad bar and I heard "Billy run!" screamed from an ignorant parent, and then I see this 12-ish-year-old boy running to the bathroom. Only he didn't make it. An unholy amount of undigested red jello came exploded out of him like a fucking volcano all over the Caesar salad, the floor next to the cash register, and on about 5 or 6 diners waiting in line to get in. It looked like he had literally vomited his guts out in an arc about 10 feet in diameter. I had to sweep up the chunks with a broom until a dishwasher with a mop could take care of the rest. I work as a welder, fabricator for a very small company, and when we have slow days my boss sends me to his house to help on his newly built bed and breakfast. I laid a lot of the bricks and build the showers and so on, which I don't mind. One day we get to his house and he just points to a huge stack of mixed garbage and tells me to sort it and drive it away. It took the whole damn day, and some AF the old cardboard and stuff was wet and smelled bad. All I could think was minimum wage, and I have to deal with his private shit. Working in a psychiatric hospital. 19F. Extremely psychotic. Pregnant W twins. Young woman would only talk to the girl in the cactus scrub top. Me. Naive me wanted to help this woman. The only way she said she would cooperate is if we were behind closed doors. Which would not happen, obviously. But we did the best to make her comfortable within protocol. She was also completely naked. Anyways, security in the door, 2 staff outside, and me trying to console this psychotic woman who loved my cactus scrub top. She decides she finally wants to get dressed and wear my shirt, so she pushes me up against the way and tried to take it off. Security was on her quick and I was out the door. $15 entry-level job. Pretty much fresh out of high school. One of many stories. When I was doing 90% of my boss job in hopes of a full-time promotion that I had been promised for 3 years, and he took all the credit and told me my promotion wasn't in the budget. First day at the health department. I'm left at the reception desk alone while literally everyone else in the office went out to a farewell lunch for the person I was replacing. As I was on 90-day probation, wasn't yet licensed and badged, my pay was $7.96 per hour. I'm sitting at reception, and some redneck comes in with a leaking garbage bag and drops it on my desk. It contains a newly beheaded javelina head. His buddy had been bitten, and it needed to be tested for rabies ASAP. I had no fucking clue what to do with a leaking garbage bag of javelina head. He couldn't wait for others to return, so he left a number and split. Turns out, we don't do that sort of thing at the health department. Guy refused to come back.